the day-night loop, where discipline begins. There's a heaviness people get used to without realizing it, like a fog that drifts into the edges of the day. You wake up slower than you should. You move through the morning as if dragging something invisible behind you. The mind isn't sluggish enough to alarm you, but it isn't sharp enough to trust either. It's the kind of tiredness that slips in so gradually that it becomes your normal. And for a while, you convince yourself it's just stress or age or circumstance. But when you strip away all the excuses, most of that heaviness comes down to one thing. Your day and your night are out of sync. Human biology is built around rhythm, not productivity techniques, not motivational slogans. Rhythm. The circadian system is a 24-hour loop of chemical signals, temperature shifts, hormonal waves, and neurological resets that decide how you think, feel, eat, recover, focus, and sleep. It runs on cues that were once unavoidable: sunlight in the morning, darkness at night, predictable activity during the day, predictable stillness in the evening. And now those cues are buried under indoor living, late-night screens, inconsistent routines, artificial light, overstimulation, and a culture that treats exhaustion as an acceptable baseline. The first major cue your body expects is morning sunlight. Not a spiritual sunrise, not a motivational walk, just natural light entering your eyes. Outdoor light can reach 10,000 to 100,000 lux depending on cloud cover. Typical indoor lighting sits at 300 to 500 lux. The gap between those numbers is enormous, and your brain reads that difference like a command. Let's go full geek for a minute. When you step outside within the first hour of waking, you activate retinal ganglion cells that tell the suprachiasmatic nucleus to start the day. Cortisol rises where it should. Serotonin production increases. Body temperature climbs. The entire system gets a clear signal. We're awake and we're supposed to be. This is why even a short walk in the morning feels like someone opened a window in your mind. It's not motivational magic, it's physiology. Your brain is aligning itself with the external world. That alignment isn't optional, it's a foundational requirement for stable mood, sharper cognition, and healthy sleep later that night. Without it, your internal clock improvises. And improvisation is never as strong as rhythm. Most adults don't get enough vitamin D from sunlight either. The research isn't controversial. Low mood, poor immunity, weak energy regulation, slower recovery, and increased sleepiness. It isn't that people lack discipline, it's that they're trying to live with biochemical deficiencies that were unheard of when humans spent their mornings outdoors by default. Supplementation fills the gap, especially during winter or indoor heavy jobs, but it doesn't replace the signal that sunlight gives your circadian system. The two work together. Morning sunlight tells your brain when to run. Vitamin D tells your body how to run. This morning reset is the first half of the loop. The second half begins 12 to 16 hours later, and most people sabotage it before they even realize what they're doing. Nights aren't just downtime, they're instruction. Your nervous system reads the last 2 hours of the evening as a message about whether it should prepare for rest or brace for more stimulation. And the way most adults live, the message is chaos. Screens blast the eyes with blue light that suppresses melatonin. The content itself keeps the brain wired and alert. The house stays bright. Notifications interrupt. Food gets eaten late. Stress leaks into the final minutes before bed. None of these behaviors feel extreme, yet they create an evening that tells your nervous system to stay in high alert mode. This is the paradox. People are tired because they can't sleep well, but they also can't sleep well because they keep living in a way that stops the nervous system from standing down. It starts with a slightly later night because you deserve some downtime. Then the next night, you do the same. Then it becomes a routine you didn't intend to build. The modern world gives you endless opportunities to stay awake and almost none to shut down. And once you lose the ability to shut down, you lose the ability to recover. What gets hit first isn't your muscles or your work output, it's your emotional stability. A tired nervous system handles stress poorly. Small problems feel heavier. Tiny inconveniences hit like personal attacks. Patience disappears. Impulse control weakens. You become more reactive, less thoughtful, quicker to spiral. All of this feels like a personality flaw, but it's not personality. It's fatigue. When your rhythm is off, the brain can't regulate itself properly. It shifts from response into reaction. Fix the rhythm, and a different version of you starts to surface. One with margin. One capable of meeting the day instead of bracing against it. Evenings stop being a gentle descent and start becoming a battlefield. The mind is tired, the body is tired, and yet something inside you refuses to let the day end. You hold on to the last scraps of freedom like they're oxygen. That urge is understandable. The day rarely feels like yours, but it's also the fastest way to sabotage tomorrow. Not through reckless choices, but through a quiet pattern that slowly starves your nervous system of the conditions it needs to stabilize. The truth is simple. The 2 hours before bed shape the next 16 hours of your life. That window sets your hormonal rhythm, your emotional capacity, your recovery, your cravings, your focus, and your impulse control. You don't need perfection. You don't need a ritual that belongs in a magazine. What you need is a predictable softening, a shift from stimulation to stillness. Without that shift, your system doesn't know how to stop bracing, and a nervous system that keeps bracing will never let you rest, no matter how exhausted you feel. Melatonin doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's produced when the brain detects darkness and low stimulation. And every study on sleep hygiene points to the same simple truth. Bright lights after sunset delay melatonin production, screens suppress it further, and high arousal content, news, social media, late-night gaming, fast-paced shows, keeps the mind alert long after the body is ready to shut down. None of this feels harmful because it's normal. But normal doesn't mean harmless. Normal means widespread. And widespread exhaustion is exactly what you see everywhere. The fix isn't to strip away your evening, it's to reclaim it.